Good evening, and it's a very warm welcome to yet another exciting episode of my Ultimate Gospel 10 right here on Star FM, sounding good all the time, together with Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's Heartbeat. It's the Gospel Greats. And you know how we do it? We're always in studio most times, you know, but this time around we said, we need to go to this girl's home because we were trying to pin her down for an interview, and it was she was busy Sunday after Sunday, and then we said, no, we need to celebrate this phenomenal girl that is totally on the rise. And I'd love for you to welcome with me in the comfort of her home and Mugadeni. She's award-winning. She's a girl on the rise. Her name is Gemma Griffiths. Good evening and welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, and welcome home.
Yes, it feels so breezy, so cool and so calm in the garden. Is this the actual garden? Like, you are a girl from Harare, but
Yes.
you're a girl from the garden.
Yes. I mean, obviously this one where we filmed Mugadin, but this is my childhood home, and this is where I grew up.
Oh, I love that. I love to hear that. And look, we're going to be sitting and chatting and just allowing you to talk to us about your 10 favorite songs of all time. And I'd love for you now to just give us a brief background. We know that you were introduced to us in the hit song Mugadin, and it was just, you know, Gemma, who's this girl, and all of that. Was that the beginning of your career, or you were somewhere mid-career? Where were you?
So I think that was definitely a big jump and a very, very big moment in establishing myself in the music industry. But I actually I was working in the industry for a couple of years before that, and if we rewind to 2015, I actually ended up doing a rendition of one of Winky D's songs, Musaroa Biggie Man, which then introduced me to Winky. Fast forward 4 years, and we did Mugadin. And all of that time, since I did that, I was releasing my own music. I was also doing renditions. I did Darachawiya by Ja Preza. I did Cynthia Mare's song Daija Ibere as well. And then a whole bunch of my own. So I was definitely, I was in the beginning phases, but I was working pretty solidly for 4 or 5 years before Mugadin came out.
Great. And now, when we look at you, it's just up, up, up and away. But look, this is a gospel show, and we want to talk about the 10 songs that you are playing in this season, or songs that have carried you through various seasons. So I look at the list, you know, that you gave to us, and I see your song is on number 10, the very first song that we're going to play. And I think that that's one of the things that I really wanted to speak to you about when I knew that I was going to meet you. To say, you're in the mainstream music industry, which is, for lack of a better word, or which most people know as secular. But then you also have gospel things that you're really leaning on, like Titunga Mire Baba, Maita Basa Baba. You did a song with Sebastian in the very short, past. And now I want to talk about this one, Maita Basa Baba. And the question that I really want to ask you is, are you a Christian? Are you a gospel musician? A semi-gospel musician? Where does gospel fit in your whole career?
Yeah, I think 100% I am a Christian, and I think it wouldn't be natural of me not to have God in my music, especially since he's such a big part of my life, So sometimes I write about romance, and sometimes I write about travel and things. I write about the things that are in my life, and a big part of my life is God. So as much as not all of my music is gospel, some of it is secular, a lot of it is gospel. And even in some of my secular music, I'll mention God. So I think it's just a good representation of me. I write about the different areas of my life, and so I would definitely say semi-gospel makes perfect sense.
Cool. So we're going to press play on Maita Basa, which is your number 10 song in this season. Talk to me a little bit about Maita Basa Baba. Was that a personal experience of yours? How did that song come about?
Yeah, Maita Basa Baba was actually the response to Titunga Mire. And I think working, when I did Titunga Mire and I worked on that rhythm with the Chill Spot Boys, this amazing song came out, and it was my first song to reach 1 million on my channel and things like that. And so then when I, when they phoned and said, we did the Rematare, let's do the Matenga Nagudo rhythm, I thought, this would be amazing to then go and do the response to a prayer. And I called up Enzo Aishal, who's a great friend of mine and helped me in the creation of Titungamire to do the same with my tabasa. And that was really awesome. We all got together again a year later in the studio, and my tabasa was born. And just a reminder that we're constantly living in moments where God has answered things that we had asked for. Sometimes we just need to stop and actually realize that He's already answered so many prayers, and to just remember to be grateful.
I love that, and I'm hoping that as you're watching on Facebook, as you're also listening to us on radio right now, you just stop in the moment and realize that, I need to count my blessings, and that sometimes you're actually leaving in your answered prayer. So look, we're going to be back straight after my Tabasa Baba. You are listening to us on Star FM, sounding good all the time, together with Capitalk 100.4 FM. And we're back with Gemma Griffiths, a girl from Harare, a girl on the rise. And I think one of the things that really just warms people's hearts is how you're able to fluently speak in Shona and how you just sing very fluently in Shona. Is that something that you really sit down and say, I'm going to write lyrics and I'm going to learn? You're from here. Did you learn in Harare, Zimbabwe? You're Zimbabwean by birth?
Yes, I am bread and buttered Zimbabwean.
Bread and buttered.
Bread and buttered. And yeah, I learned some Shona through school, and then mostly just through friends, through my band, and just through, the people that I was with all the time, instead of everybody speaking English all the time, it made more sense for me to learn. And it's a beautiful language to sing in, oh my goodness. Yeah. It's so musical and it's poetic, isn't it?
It is.
Things can change depending on, if something's got to be the next thing will be
yeah.
It's poetic. English doesn't do that.
And fun that you say that, because the next song that is on your list, it's the Zim Praise Choir, which has a lot of songs, but Hakuna Zita is the song that she chose. It's also it's an old-time hymn, and it's got deep Shona, and for you to be able to actually want that on your list, it means that you fully understand it. What does it mean to you?
Hakuna Zita was a really special one for me personally, because it was actually the first gospel song that I ever sort of covered, the first hymn that I sang and covered and put out there years ago, and it was one of my all-time favorites, something growing up. But I remember when one of the last times that I saw Baba Tuku, he actually came to me and he said, you know, Gemma, that song, that's my favorite hymn, and he was like, I want to do the full version with you. And that was, I think it was the last time I saw him, or the second last time I saw him, but he was just, the way that he loved that song has always sort of held a really strong memory in my heart. But yeah, definitely an all-time hymn and one of my favorites.
Great. So we're going to be listening to Hakuna Zita, live done by the Zim Praise. It is on Gemma Griffiths' number 9 song on my Ultimate Gospel 10. And stay tuned. Hoping that you're having an awesome time, just as I am, with Gemma Griffiths. And the core business, of this sit down with Gemma is to get into the mind of the singer-songwriter. On My Ultimate Gospel 10, we don't grill, we don't get down and dirty with anybody. What we do is we just bring to the fore some of the gospel songs that our stars listen to. She's done a lot, in terms of the gospel music industry. She's got a whole catalogue of songs, and we want to find out where the inspiration is coming from. My name is Yvonne Tivatye, coming to you live on Star FM, sounding good all the time, together with Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's Heartbeat. Everton Mlalazi, Apo Mambo Pin. Everton Mlalazi is one artist that's really featuring on most people's lists, and his career is very young. I think he's around 2.5, 3 years old in the music industry, but he chose him with his latest one, Apo Mambo Pinda. Talk to me about that song.
Yeah, Everton is really making waves, and it's been really, really awesome to just watch his career grow. And I think that song was definitely a sobering reminder to the fact that God is coming home, and what are we doing in that time? And that often we think that we have so much time, and maybe we do, maybe we don't, but ultimately in the long run we don't. And God says that constantly, that He's coming and it's near, and to just, to just remember that, I think, is something important, and something that we sometimes forget.
Yeah, I love that. And I really want to find out if you were understanding every word that he was singing in that song. It's an old-time hymn as well. For me, like you say, it's a sobering reminder. But also, it's kind of scary in a way, to say, if the trumpet were to sound now, and rapture were to happen today, where are we going to go? The things that we were doing yesterday or this morning and things like that. So it just sort of puts a lot of things into perspective for me. So were you following when you were watching it, and what was it for you? Is it the musicality? Is it the video quality? What was it for you?
I think definitely for me the biggest thing was the live. When he performs this live, it just really is. But
have you met him before?
No, I haven't.
In person?
I haven't. But I do think as well that as much as it's nerve-wracking, in that way, like, am I going to be? It's not new news,
Yeah.
It's been said over and over again, that there really is, and I was listening to a sermon this morning that was talking about it, that it really is God's grace, and that sort of that all of that salvation comes through just knowing God and accepting Him. And that's not new news. So as much as it is nerve-wracking to sometimes go, where am I standing in this moment? It's we can be reassured and
and it's also just great to get a reminder that this is going to happen. So we are chilling out with Gemma here, and we're going to press play on Apo Mambo Opinda, and when we come back we continue having a wholesome conversation with this girl. It is still my ultimate gospel 10, and it's a concept we put together really to get into the mind of the singer-songwriter, to keep the gospel music genre alive, and to just get to know the songs that our personalities listen to get into their place of inspiration. Gemma Griffiths is a force to reckon with right now in our music industry, and she recently won an American award. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank you, my tabasa. Yeah, Zim really took it home there. I think Ja Praiser won, Winky D won, I won, Mr. Brown won.
Yeah. And it was such a huge moment for us, and I think that we need to commend that you also just representing our gender in that whole lineup. Well done.
Thank you.
You're definitely on the rise, and I think that we'll look out for you in this award season as well. We think that greater things are coming. But look, when I look at your number 7, Gemma, I see a dynamic group called The Unveiled, which is also such a whirlwind of a group, you know, when you look at them on TikTok and the hits that they've made. You chose a song they did with Manucci, though.
Yes.
Talk to me about Manucci and that song, Morning to Dancing.
Yes. Manucci is a very good friend of mine, and I've always watched The Unveiled and loved their work. And, you know, when Manu actually wrote this song, which he did quite a while before the song came out, I heard it, and I was like, my goodness, this is beautiful. I can't wait for this to come out. And then this combination is just fire. It really is, and it's uplifting, and it's joyful, and it's also just, you know, testament to how God can, even when things are rough and things are seemingly dark, that He's always doing it for good in the long run.
Great. I love to hear that. And of course, we're going to be listening to this one. Morning to Dancing is The Unveiled and Manucci. And I'm hoping that whatever it is that you're going through, when you listen to this song, when you were watching us on Facebook, you know, right here on Star FM, sounding good all the time, in Capital 100.4 FM, something shifts, you know. This is music that can change your life if you listen to it from the heart. We'll be right back, most definitely.
Every time I fail, I am waiting on you to my prayer. Now I know you hear me when I pray. I waited for a miracle, almost gave up. Every time I fail, I've been waiting. You answer my prayer. Now I know you hear me when I my morning to dance, sorrows to joy.
some time Mugadeni in the garden outside outside the Griffiths home, and we met Baba Gemma, by the way, earlier this morning. Such a wonderful gentleman, and of course raising, you know, a beautiful daughter like this and representing and flying our Zimbabwean flag ever so high. Gemma Griffiths is with us just to talk to us about some of the gospel songs that she listens to and what they mean to her. And we're moving fast along, really. We're on number 6 now. It's a Nigerian hit, which was also quite a sensation on TikTok. I watched every moment and every challenge that people did on this song. But for me, it's mostly the lyrical content and the declarations, because it came soon after we got into 2023, and just telling yourself that this year blessings and testimonies are going to be following me all the days of my life. Victor Thompson is the artist behind this song. Is it about the artist? Is it about the song? Is it about the beat for you?
You know, to be honest, I think it's about the fact that a gospel song with a gospel message can go that mainstream, which I think is really exciting, because it was really cool to see as well that I'm sure a lot of people singing that song might not know God at all, you know, but that you can still make something that can cover the whole world, and, you know, instead of, you know, just an uplifting thing that mainstream can be gospel, you know, and I think that's really exciting, you know, outside, because obviously in Zim, gospel is such a big part of our music scene, but it's not like that everywhere. So I think that was really exciting. I love Victor Thompson. I think his voice is amazing. I think the whole melody is just simple and easy and fun to listen to, and yeah, just a really exciting time for gospel music.
So look at what the song actually says.
Yeah.
And 2023 for you.
Yeah.
When you look at what it says this year, blessings, testimony, go follow. How do you resonate with that and where you are now? Because already we are in November.
Yeah.
We're almost done with the year, we're almost wrapping up. How does this song fit in the whole scheme of things in your life?
Definitely fits right in, I think. I think this year I've had more testimony than I maybe have in the past in a lot of ways. You know, I think with Ndita Tarisa and all of that's sort of come in the past little wave, and just the amount that I've been able to see growth in my career and in my personal life as well, and just the way we've been able to travel and see a lot of the world. I think, yeah, this year definitely has brought blessings and
testimony, and we're hoping that when you listen to this one as well, and I think even as you project into the next year, into 2024, my New Year's resolutions are just to say 2024 is my year. I saw a joke somewhere where somebody was saying, the way things are going and it's already November, at least I didn't say 2023 is my year. But look, we urge you as you listen to this one to actually just be positive about the new year ahead, and we'll be right there. Really, it's a genuine conversation we're having, Mugadeni, and you know, we're also themed for it. We're all wearing green, our surroundings are green, and we're having a fantastic time here with Gemma Griffiths, just, you know, understanding her a little better and getting a little personal with her. We're right in the middle of your song, so if I'm an artist and I'm at home and I'm thinking, I'm hoping that Gemma listens to my music, 5 down, in the 5 top ones, I hope I'm there. So right on the middle, you know, of your list, I see a phenomenal female musician who came and sort of revolutionized Zimbabwean gospel music in a way, and brought a modern feel to it and a modern look to it. And I think that it's definitely very hard to ignore her, and also where she's come from, and your choice of song from her, for me, then says, yeah, you've been following. Janet Manyewa is the artist that we're talking about, and the song that she broke through with was Zadzisa in 2016 into 2017. You chose that one. She's got a whole lot more after that, a lot of songs that she's done, Nyashaningoni, she's done Ndimi, so many songs, but you chose that one. Talk to me about what you see when you look at Janet, if you have a personal relationship with her, and what it is about this song for you.
Yeah, Janet is definitely an inspiration for any woman in the industry who have anything to do with gospel, I think. You know, she's been such a powerhouse and such a steadfast icon in that space, you know, from that point going forward. And I think Zadzisa was really special for me because when it came out, you know, I was working hard in the industry, and, you know, and God had put it on my heart that this is what I was meant to do, but it wasn't yet catching. And I think it's just a solid reminder that God is faithful, and He will fulfill the promises that He's made, and, you know, He doesn't make promises lightly. You know, so that song really hit with me there, and that was when I sort of first really connected and got to know Janet, and ever since then I've been a follower, and I just love her energy, and yeah.
I love that, to hear that from a woman about another woman. And of course, Zadzisa was such a, it was a whirlwind of a song, and of course reminding us that what God said about us, his word will not return to him void. So enjoy Zadzisa. It's number 5 on Gemma Griffiths' ultimate gospel songs of all time. And in this we're having so much fun, and looking at Gemma Griffiths' choice of songs, you can kind of get a sneak peek into the woman that she is, and just understanding her spirituality. On number 10 was the music of her, of this girl from Harare. Gemma Griffiths was on number 10 with Maita Basababa, and of course Hakuna Zita from the Zimbabwean Choir was number 9. Everton Mlala's making it to number 8 with Apo Mabo Pinda. Manucci together with the Unveiled Morning to Dancing was 7, and in Gemma Griffiths' life, Victor Thompson, This Year Blessings and Testimony, was number 6. Number 5 we just played out, Janet Manyowa's Zadzisa. And we're moving now to number 4. As you know, we have a wholesome conversation right here on Star FM, sounding good all the time, together with Capitalk 100.4 FM. Harry's Heartbeat. My name is Yvonne Tivatye. Totally enjoying every moment I'm sharing with Gemma. Look, Anatolia, who shows up on your number 4, is, there's a deliberate movement of young musicians that God is raising in this season. Very young and very dynamic and very modern, and I'll speak to you about that. Veil, Joyful Praise Choir, young, energetic and vibrant, your Nyasha Mtonori, your Melissa Makwasha, those young people, and Sharon Manyongani and them. But when I look at Anatolia and the fact that she's based abroad and the path that she's following, she's also award-winning, by the way, and her sound, I know that she broke through with Lola, with Action, but then from there, she's just come out so strong, as a gospel musician. And Be Still is her newest offering. Talk to me about what that song does to you, and in what moments do you play that song or remember that song?
Yeah, Be Still is a really special one for me, personally, because I think that has always been, be still and know that I am God, or be still and know that I'm with you. That phrase has been, something that I've really, really grown up with. It's actually one of my tattoos, Be Still.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Be Still. And so when she came out with Be Still, and Anatolia is someone that I've really loved to follow and just watch how she's sort of put such a fun and modern twist, but with always a very poignant message. And so it was just a perfect combination for me. It was a message that I had always sort of grown up really, really clinging to, and then it was someone that I just think is really lovely and really fun and awesome.
So I've always had this conversation with Christians, or with fans of the show and friends of the show, where we sort of discover, or we sort of define what be still means. What does being still mean to you? Does it mean not praying and just waiting there and hoping, or does it? How do you understand be still?
I think I think it can probably mean a few different things, but for me, it's amidst the chaos when you feel like life is taking over and you don't know what to do or how to do it, to stop and refocus and know that God's got this, and that these problems might be big, but God is bigger.
Gemma's saying don't run around. Don't take matters into your own hands. When you feel that life is overtaking you, be still, and God will show up for you in that situation. And we're going to be listening to Anatolia, Be Still, number 4 on Gemma Griffiths' list. And we'll be right back straight after it. totally acknowledging the crew behind the scenes, everybody who's made this possible. Mkomanya Makura, who's made us, who's transported us and made us reach here. And we've got Michael Mshuje, Loud 5 on the camera, together with my brother. They're just making sure that things are going fine. Blessing Ben is our engineer, and we totally appreciate him. The assistant producer to this show, Valeria Mandu, also just tying things together, stalking Gemma until we are here and sitting in this pretty garden and speaking to her about her 10 favorite gospel songs. We totally appreciate that. And you guys. But look, I see a song that is a bit different from all the songs that are on your list on number 3. It's a Sungura song, Gemma.
Yes,
You even understand.
That's why I chose it. That is why I chose it. Girl, that second that guitar comes in, I'm so excited.
So it is Sharon Majungani Secherai, featured by a choir, an outfit known as Spirit Praise. The song is Pandatsika Tor. Talk to me about that song. I know it's mostly about the beat, but for how long have you loved Sungura music, or you discovered your love for this sound when you heard this song?
You can't grow up in Zimbabwe and not know Sungura, and in my case, know and love Sungura.
Yeah.
And I think to hear that coupled in with two of my other favorite things, which is gospel music and choral music, I don't know, it hit the nail on the head. It was like the trifecta. And yeah, a lot of my music has been quite guitar heavy, not Sungura, but there's definitely been hints throughout, and I just love guitar. So that was definitely the selling point. But I was doing some sort of research and looking into Spirit Praise when I discovered this song. And yeah, Sharon's voice as well is just
so
fine.
With you mentioning that you can't grow up in Zimbabwe and not have a love for Sungura, it kind of gets me into a question where we met Dad. And I haven't met Mom, but look, did you come up from a musical family? At what stage, at what point, would you guys play Sungura music on your way to school when they're doing the school run?
Yes.
Or how did you grow up?
All of that. I think I grew up in a very musical household. My gran was actually a pianist and my grandpa played clarinet, and so we had instruments in the house and the opportunities to learn. But on top of that, my folks would play a lot of music on the radio and in the car and things, and would take us a lot to watch a lot of live music. So I met Bob Nyabinde through my dad, and I remember seeing Tuku for the first time with my parents, and young, and just that was what life was, and Leonard Dembo would be playing, and Thomas Mapfumo would be playing, and Baba Tuku, and everyone would be on the radio, so it was just a big part of life.
Great. And we're going to be listening to Pandatsika Tor, number 3 on Gemma Griffiths' gospel songs that are carrying her through this season. We hope you enjoy it as much as we will. I can promise you're going to be enjoying this one. Believe it or not, we were dancing. Like, there was a whole lot of... You should see Gemma's Griffiths' Sungura moves. She's just on another level. Wherever she was dancing. But look, we really need to move swiftly along, and it's just 2 songs that are left. We've had a wholesome conversation. We've gotten to see her, through her eyes, how she listens to music and what she finds fascinating about a song. Well, number 2 is a South African guy who I think I should go down south and look for, because I think he's Zimbabwean from inside, because the way Omega loves our language. You know, he's so committed to the Shona language. He's got, I think, over 5 Shona songs that he's done. Amazing. He's a big shot in South Africa, but you know what is fascinating for me is that we borrow a lot as Zimbabweans from South African gospel music, from the beat to the sound, from the Joy Celebration Choir, etc. But to have a South African who's committed to Shona and who really, in every song, Omega Kuno, you chose one of my favorites from him, Makanaka Jesu. Talk to me about Omega the artist and the song and the seasons you go through with the song.
I think Omega's great, and I think you're right. It's so inspiring and awesome to also see people coming in and really, you know, loving the language. You know, it's a beautiful language, I think, to sing in, and he obviously sees that. But I also think Makanaka Jesu, the hymn, is just, you know, again, it's a hymn that we've heard, and it's a classic, but the way he also did it was really special. But the reason I really picked this song was because recently, obviously, a lot of us lost someone really special with Gary, and just seeing some of the videos coming out at his funeral of his wife, sort of saying, you know, in amidst all of this, no words can describe the pain. We still need to sing to God and praise Him, you know, even in times of pain. And I think that was incredibly poignant and inspiring, you know, as a Christian, to be shown something like that, you know, even in those times that we can still praise God. And then she sang Makanaka Jesu, and it was just...
I love that, and you have reminded us that no matter what the situation, God doesn't change. He never changes. He never ceases. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So if you're going through a rough patch, if you're going through the valley of the shadow of death, He still is your shepherd, and He's a good shepherd. So thank you so much for that reminder. We hope that you feel the same and you enjoy it as we listen to South African-based musician Omega Kuno with Makanaka Jesu. When we come back, we crown the biggest song in Gemma Griffiths' life now and in the seasons that she's passing through. And I'm hoping you guys are taking a wild guess. And
Come on, worship Him.
Time definitely flies, you know, especially when you're having a wholesome conversation, when you're having fun while you're at it, and also when you're getting inspired and getting to know someone a little better. Gemma Griffiths is a pride, really. We are super, super proud of her. She's an asset, and we see how far she's going. But look, just to sit down and have this wholesome conversation in the comfort of her home, for us is something really special right here at the Zim Papers Radio Broadcasting Division, Star FM, sounding good all the time together with Capitalk 100.4 FM. We're right there at the pinnacle of her top 10 songs of all time and in this season, and I see a song that has taken over the country's music industry, really. On TikTok there's so many challenges for this song, and also it was number one on the Star Hit list for a while. It was number one on the Gospel Grades, where we are at now, and it's a song that we really want for Gemma to talk to us about, to say, where did this song come from? She crowns her own Ndichatarisa as number one in her life right now, and it simply says, I'll look unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord. Ndichatarisa. Gemma, why is this song on number one in your life, first of all? Second of all, you packaged it and then you dispatched and you assigned this song. What is it supposed to do in people's lives?
Yeah, Ndichatarisa is number one for me because it was a solid reminder, and it, for me, was a very proving moment of God's work in my life, because you know, behind the scenes we had been, you know, I had been praying a lot, and he had been talking to me a lot about what he wanted me to say and what he wanted me to do, and he basically moved so many things behind the scenes to make sure that this song came out exactly when it came out, and that nothing else was possible. And when it did, he took it and he ran with it in a way that I've never really seen, you know, even just looking at analytics and the behind the scenes in that way, and to just watch that if God wants something, and if you're obedient to that, and he says, I want you to do this, and you're obedient to that, and he is able to speak through you in a certain way, he will move mountains, you know, and I think he really did that with Ndichatarisa. But on top of that, it was a prayer that I had been praying over and over and over to God, because earlier this year I went through something really, really rough and really heartbreaking, and I remember standing in the midst of all of the pain and knowing, actually, I don't know how I'm going to get through this next, I don't know how I'm going to walk through this next season, and that I had to actually stop, I had to be still, I had to look to God and say, I can't do this, I need you to do this for me, I need you to tell me where to put my steps and give me just enough light for that step, and he did, and the song was born, and it was born out of a lot of pain, but has actually just shown me over and over again that he is bigger than all the problems, and he will, like I guess all of the songs I've sort of picked, that he will fulfill the promises, you know.
We love to hear such stories where people give us music and sing songs from personal experiences and from where they are being made, from where character is built. And we love to hear that this is the song that came out of such an experience, and you dispatched it in our lives, really, for us to be able to also look unto God when we get into, you know, situations like that. Gemma, allow me to say thank you so much, first of all, for bringing us into your home, your private space. Number two, also just for being vulnerable with us and sharing your experiences and, you know, what these songs mean to you. And also just to say thank you so much for being so warm-hearted, really, and being fun to hang out with. Thank you so much. We wish you all the very best. What can we look forward to in 2024 from Gemma, and any things in the horizon for you, so that we can just, you know, be following and supporting?
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thanks for coming all the way to my home, and for, you know, being here in Mugadan with me, especially on such a busy and crazy end of year. But yeah, 2024 is exciting. There's a little bit more to end off this year, I will say that, and next year new music. I've been working hard. I've been in the studio, and there is a lot coming into the beginning of next year. So I'm really, really excited. I think it's going to be next year. Blessings, testimony.
She's Gemma Griffiths across all social media platforms. You definitely catch her there. And of course, you catch us on Star FM Zimbabwe, catch us on Capi Talk 100.4 FM. You catch me on Yvonne Tivatye across all social media platforms. From the entire crew behind the scenes, this has been awesome. It has been amazing. Till we meet again same time next week on yet another episode of My Ultimate Gospel 10. It's good night. God bless. Please do take